Hello, I'm Peter Sells, Vice President and Chief Fire Training Officer at FireRein. This training program will introduce users to the techniques and tactics of applying FireRein Ecogel to Class B flammable liquid fires. They will gain a full understanding of how Ecogel extinguishes Class B fires and how to determine the proper Ecogel percentage for the task at hand. We will demonstrate the use of Ecogel for extinguishment of Class B flammable liquid fires, creation of a resilient viscous membrane, and exterior exposure protection. We will demonstrate management of Ecogel and Class B liquid runoff, and site scene and equipment cleanup after the use of Ecogel. The emphasis of this program is on safe, practical application, ensuring that users will be able to safely and efficiently apply FireRein Ecogel when called upon to do so. Ecogel can be proportioned using an inline eductor or an automatic proportioning system on board a firefighting apparatus. For the purposes of this video, we will be using an inline eductor. An inline eductor is an effective tool to proportion and apply FireRein Ecogel on Class A and Class B fires. Ideally, make sure that the nozzle and eductor have the same flow rating. Do not exceed 300 feet of 1.5-inch hose after the eductor. If you're using 1 3/4-inch hose, do not exceed 500 feet between the eductor and the nozzle. FireRein does not recommend the use of automatic flow nozzles with inline eductors. An inline eductor is an effective tool to proportion and apply FireRein Ecogel on Class A and Class B fires. Always make sure that the eductor is receiving the proper 200 psi inlet pressure for which it is designed. In order to select the appropriate percentage of Ecogel for the task in front of you, it is helpful to understand how Ecogel behaves and how it extinguishes Class B fire. A stream of Ecogel behaves much like a stream of water, with the exception that the droplets of hydrogel are larger and heavier than water droplets. This allows a hydrogel stream to resist dispersion in wind, resulting in approximately 20% further reach for a straight stream and better stream integrity for all patterns. This is most dramatically apparent when compared to streams of foam, which are highly susceptible to wasteful dispersion in crosswinds. The extinguishing action of Ecogel on Class B fires is different from its action on Class A fires. On Class A fires, the stick and stay property of Ecogel attacks the fire triangle by cooling and excluding oxygen. On Class B fires, Ecogel forms an emulsion with the flammable liquid. This emulsive layer is not flammable, essentially removing fuel from the fire triangle. Also, once enough Ecogel is applied to the entire flammable liquid pool or spill, a resilient viscous membrane is formed, which completely covers the flammable liquid beneath, excluding oxygen from the fire triangle. The resilient viscous membrane does not break down over time periods as short as several hours, as is the case with blankets of foam. The membrane will remain in place for days at a time, until it is physically removed along with the remaining flammable product. FireRein Ecogel works in essentially the same ways to extinguish Class B fires involving hydrocarbons or polar solvents. Because the primary extinguishment action of Ecogel when applied to Class B flammable liquids is chemical rather than mechanical, the recommended percentage is 6% in order to maximize the contact between the active ingredients in Ecogel and the flammable liquid. An incident action plan for a Class B fire attack requires a risk assessment to determine the safest and most effective tactics to employ. The key question is whether the size of the fire, its physical dimensions, the amount of radiant heat being emitted, and the risk of a sudden uncontrolled escalation of the fire, such as from a container failure or extension to a nearby exposure, will allow firefighters to approach or require that they keep a safe distance. If conditions are such that it is not safe for firefighters to approach the burning liquid, a defensive posture is indicated. The tactic that is recommended by FireRein for this situation is called the rainbow. The rainbow is essentially a narrow fog stream arced through the air which falls onto the burning liquid surface. The enhanced reach and stream integrity of the hydrogel stream can allow an experienced nozzle operator to adjust the pattern and arc in such a way as to ensure that very little hydrogel is falling outside of the target spill or pool. The vertical drop of the large hydrogel droplets in the rainbow provides sufficient mechanical force to initiate mixing between the hydrogel and the upper layer of the flammable liquid. This mixing allows the hydrogel to encapsulate the flammable product and begin knockdown of the fire. For large spills or for inaccessible surfaces such as an elevated tank, a continued rainbow will ultimately extinguish the entire burning surface and create a resilient viscous membrane. If the Class B fire is relatively small and there are no unreasonable risks to having firefighters approach, then a more offensive posture can be taken. It is recommended that if firefighters will be approaching a flammable liquid fire to apply Ecogel, that a second line be staffed and in place as a safety measure to deluge the attack line firefighters in the event that they need to retreat quickly. This safety line can also be applying Ecogel if possible. Firefighters on the attack line should approach the fire using a 30-degree to 40-degree fog pattern, utilizing airflow to push the fire back. As they get closer to the fire, the fog stream can be narrowed to increase effectiveness and decrease wasteful overspray, and aimed directly into the surface of the burning liquid. A practiced and skilled nozzle operator will develop the technique of agitating and stirring the flammable product with the fog stream, without splashing the flammable product and causing fire extension. After the main body of the flame has been knocked down, use a narrower fog stream to root up Class B liquid Ecogel mixture in order to maximize Ecogel's ability to encapsulate the Class B liquid. Overhaul of remaining flickers of flame in corners or at edges can be done using small precise shots to complete the extinguishment. Continue with the agitation of the Class B fuel until 30 seconds after the last visible flames have been extinguished and the resilient viscous membrane has been formed. It is important to note that existing techniques for application of firefighting foam, such as bank down, roll on, or rain down, sometimes called snowflaking, are not compatible with hydrogel application. Being over 90% water, this hydrogel layer continues to absorb heat and exclude oxygen, striking down two sides of the fire triangle simultaneously. The thicker the hydrogel, higher percentage, the more resilient will be the ability to stick and stay. The thinner the hydrogel, lower percentage, the greater the penetration of a straight stream or the coverage of a fog stream. Understanding the performance behavior of Ecogel will allow you to make good decisions on what percentage to use for each situation. Ecogel is an effective and environmentally benign agent which is ideally suited for application to Class B flammable liquid fires. Being a bio-based product, there is no risk of environmental contamination from the use of Ecogel. Ecogel will not affect crops, groundwater, or aquatic ecosystems. Because Ecogel at a percentage of 6% creates a thick viscous substance, either on its own or with encapsulated flammable liquid, it is much easier to control with standard diking and damming tactics to keep the mixture out of waterways or storm drains than if it were the flammable liquid or if it were contaminated runoff water. With respect to collection and disposal, any emulsion or membrane of Ecogel and the original flammable liquid should be treated using the protocols for the flammable liquid. Ecogel does not add any hazards into the equation, but the flammable product still exists within the emulsion. Proper authorities should be contacted as per your local protocols to ensure the Class B Ecogel mixture is disposed of safely and properly. Until such time as collection and disposal are initiated, the situation must be monitored in case further action is required. All firefighting activities should be done in such a way as to minimize unnecessary damage. The use of Ecogel can help in this regard by reducing the amount of water needed to accomplish extinguishment. Less water equals less runoff equals reduced environmental exposure. It is important to mention that Ecogel is an inherently slippery substance. Judicious application such as the rainbow tactic described earlier will not only limit precious water use, but will reduce slip hazards on the scene from overspray. After firefighting operations, flush the proportioning device, the eductor or onboard system, the hose and the nozzle with water as per operating guidelines, and flow until there is no longer any hydrogel exiting the nozzle, plus another 30 seconds. After use of Ecogel, take the pickup wand out of the Ecogel container, wipe off the outside of the wand, and place the wand into the container of EcoRinse. Restrain the pickup tube and brace for a rapid discharge of water. Rapid backflush discharge from the wand could cause injury. Turn the metering head percentage to 6%, the maximum setting. Push the red flush button and run fresh water through the pickup tube and metering head on each percentage setting until there is no visible gel in the flush water. Retract the lock ring to remove the metering head from the eductor body. Remove the eductor from the hose so that any remaining gel residue can be washed or wiped from the pickup tube, metering head, and eductor. Allow the eductor parts to air dry, then reassemble the eductor and return it to stowage. If using an inline eductor, always make sure that the eductor is receiving the proper 200 psi inlet pressure for which it is designed. Ideally, make sure that the nozzle and eductor have the same flow rating. Try this out in training before you need it at a scene. FireRein does not recommend the use of automatic flow nozzles with inline eductors. If you're using 1.5 inch hose, do not exceed 300 feet of hose line between the eductor and the nozzle. You can extend that up to 500 feet if you're using 1 3/4 inch hose. Proper flushing and rinsing will ensure that no residues will accumulate that could interfere with proper operation of the eductor, proportioning system, or nozzle. Ecogel can be applied for exterior exposure protection as needed. It is important to note that the existing techniques for application of firefighting foam, such as bank down, roll on, or rain down, sometimes called snowflaking, are not compatible with hydrogel application. For most Class B firefighting situations, FireRein Ecogel is a safe, effective agent which can quickly extinguish fires, reduce water use on scene, mitigate or eliminate environmental contamination, and can be used with standard firefighting apparatus and equipment. If you have any questions about anything presented in this video, please contact your FireRein representative and we will be happy to assist. FireRein wants you to be effective on the fire ground and above all, to be safe.